All right, my friends, welcome back to another V-Rising video. This one is going to be a great one that's been a long time coming. So since this game launched in early access in 2022, I have compiled a gigantic list of things that I would love to see in the game. And as the years have gone on, that list has only gotten bigger. While Stunlock has addressed some of them, and I'm super glad about that and happy that we're going to see more in the future, honestly, this list that I have is so big that it makes more sense to break it up into multiple videos. So we're going to do a little mini series that basically just goes through what I want to see in V-Rising. And the first video we're going to talk about is the map itself. So first things first, in one of the most recent developer updates, Stunlock revealed that we're going to be getting a new zone over here near Silverlight Hills in Gloomrot North, right about this area here, which is absolutely amazing. And while I love, and one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing about every one of the updates, has been the new zones, I also think that there are a lot of things that Stunlock can do to the existing zones to really spruce them up and give us more playability in those zones. And it wouldn't really take all that much. So let's start at the Cursed Forest here. So for instance, if we look at this side here, Cursed Forest takes up this whole, top right area of the map, but it's not really, there's just so much missing from this area. So for instance, this road, obviously there's like a little small POI here for like the mosquitoes or whatever. But to me, this road leads to kind of nowhere. Like nobody really goes here all that much. So to me, why not have this lead into another little area over here, or this whole zone here? Maybe the roads can come up and, connect right here, and maybe even over here, and give us like more base plots, for example. That would be fantastic. Or maybe over here, you can also stretch this out. This whole area, it's just kind of empty. You could just stretch this whole thing out right here, give us more base plots or more POIs there. Just some more things to do. Personally, I would love to see base plots in the Cursed Forest because I think 4 is simply not enough for such a cool area. Would love to see more there. So next thing we're going to look at here is the Hallowed Mountains. Now this one desperately needs some love, in my opinion. It's just been sitting like this since early access. The base plots have changed very slightly, but other than that, nothing has happened here. The big things I want to see here would be some kind of resource that matters at some point, or like a secondary location to farm it. For example, around this time, we're looking for iron. I would love to see maybe some iron here, or maybe something else. I don't know, quartz, something interesting in this area, or maybe a new resource, whatever. Something like that. I would also like to see this kind of expanded out a bit here and add some more base plots here. The Hallowed Mountains is one of the coolest aesthetics in the whole game for bases. The music is amazing. The snow is fantastic, but there's only 5 base plots and most of them are trash. So I would love to see more base plots and just more stuff to do here. And another thing I would really, really love to see is right here next to Terraclaw's cave, there is a little spot, almost like a little alcove. I would love to see a cave entrance right here that exits over here. Now, this says there's a cave passage here, and there used to be a cave passage here. Once upon a time, this was a cave entrance over here in Cursed Forest, and it exited here in Dunley. Now, whenever they changed it, they added the Gloomrot patch, they changed the location of the caves, and this cave location was removed. Now, all the exits are in Farbane ever since. But personally, one of the biggest issues with the 1.0 update for me, with the Morum incursions, is just how terrible it feels to run back from Morum to anywhere other than Cursed Forest, East Dunley or Central Dunley, or Farbane, anywhere in Farbane. If you're having to, or obviously Hallowed Mountains as well, if you're having to run to Gloomrot North over here, man, it feels bad. Or over here in Silverlight Hills, it just feels awful. Even like in this location, it feels bad. So for me, my suggestion would be to add a cave entrance here, which, by the way, that immediately makes the Hallowed Mountains a very interesting location. Anytime there's a cave entrance, it's an interesting location. So add a cave entrance here that exits over here, and suddenly this exit would unlock the potential even more of every single location over here, making it feel a little more balanced in terms of traveling from incursion events. So I think that would be a really cool addition. Would love to see them do that. And then next thing is Silverlight Hills. Now, there's a couple things you could do here. I think maybe expanding down here. This could be a new location eventually, you know, a new zone or something if they wanted to. But if not, maybe expanding from this location here up this way, or even all the way around. But really, I think a really cool and, I don't know, semi-easy thing they could do would actually be to add a little island over here off the coast and maybe have some kind of like boat or something. So that would be a little difficult. A moving platform might be a little challenging for them, but I think that would be pretty cool. To maybe like a little boat that sails from the docks, from Silverlight docks, over to the island over here. And maybe you could bat form over to it, obviously, or you could even go human form or rat form and try to sneak onto the boat and take a trip over to the island. Maybe there could be things happening over here, a boss, maybe a secret hidden trader, something like that. Something like that would be super cool. I don't know. Anything around the area would be really cool. And then Dracula's Demise. This place to me was kind of a letdown. They were hyping up with this whole location for 2 years, and then it ended up being kind of just pointless. There's not really anything happening here. It's just sticks walking around in circles and then blood crystal, and that's really all there is. There's also a ton of wasted space. Like, look at all this wasted space right here. This is just nothing. There's nothing happening here. And then even just a small little cave area, more of, you know, something else here would be nice. And then over here, there's so much wasted space around this whole area. So for me, I think it'd be cool if they maybe like moved this road to go down this way and come out like over here. And then they expanded Dracula's Demise out a little bit. And then they just added something else here, some more stuff, something interesting to do here, whether it's more POI farming, more enemies, something along those lines. And then finally with Morum, to be honest, Morum to me was kind of a letdown. There's a lot of cool things about it. You know, incursion events are kind of fun. It's fun that it promotes PvP and that kind of thing. But personally, I think the POIs here are some of the weakest in the entire game. Not some of, I'm sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. I think Morum has the weakest POIs in the game by an insanely large margin. Okay, so there's nothing to do here. There's Dracula's Garden, which takes 2 seconds, and there's whether it's Southwest Fortress Ruins or whatever it is. This one also is just like even worse than Drax Garden. There's just almost no point to even go to that location. So to me, what I would like to see at the very least is to take Dracula's Courtyard, this incursion POI, move it right here to the center of the map, because if you look here, there's literally nothing here at all. I think this is like a teleporter or something. You can just move that over somewhere else, and then just make this whole location, make this the 7th incursion event location, and then make Dracula's Courtyard and Dracula's Garden, all of this like the Bright Haven of Morum. This is Dracula's castle we're talking about, okay? This guy terrorized humanity for like hundreds or thousands of years, and he's coming back, right? He has all these vampires who are coming back. He's trying to get back into the world through the Shadow Realm. So let's make it look like that's really going on in this area, right? Let's make this whole place be that last bastion. Make that really just a dangerous location. Make the whole thing a really cool POI. So next, talking about POIs, the next thing I would love to see is multi-story POIs. I think that is probably the easiest thing that they could do to spruce the map up to an insane level and really not put all that much effort into it, in my opinion. Like right now, we already have the ability to do that with our castles, right? So I would imagine doing that with just like a house or whatever would not really be all that difficult. For example, Maja's castle or Maja's tower here, the Dark Tower, is just like as cool as it looks. And as exciting as it was to go up this the first time, I was like, oh man, what's going to be at the top here? And then you get up here and it's just a circle. It's really all it is a circle with walls. You walk in and fight her, and then you never come back. There's nothing to do up here at all. It's just a gigantic location that just does nothing. So I would love to see this tower be a tower. Fight up the tower with multiple floors, maybe 2 or 3, 4 floors. Fight her at the top floor. And, you know, then run out to the side and jump off the side when you're done. And then maybe just fighting some more, you know, mobs or something on the way back up. Very, very interesting. But at the very least, I think the way you could apply multi-story POIs very easily and have, to me, would be thematically perfect, would be all of the shard bosses. and all of their POIs. So for instance, imagine Solaris. Look at this area that Solaris's citadel is taking up. It is enormous. This whole thing just takes up so much space, and all you do is ride up the stairs, walk up, fight Solaris and kill him, and leave. And that's it. That's all you do in that whole area. To me, I love that fight. I love Solaris. In fact, he's one of my favorite bosses in the game. But I would love it if this citadel was truly a citadel, truly just a fortress of light that you fought your way up. There was priests and clerics and other holy things in here, holy people studying to get closer to the light to defeat the vampire scourge. And you just had to come in here and fight through the hordes of these, faithful people before you got to Solaris to fight him, and then jump out, whatever you got to do to jump out and leave with the shard. Same thing goes with even the winged horror. I think one thing that'd be cool here is if there was a really big mountain and you fought him maybe inside of a cave. So like you land on the plateau, there's a cave entrance, and you walk down the cave entrance walk through the cave entrance down into this big cavern, similar to like the bear-ish. And as you're fighting him in there, he's flying around in the cavern. It's this epic moment where you're just like, oh, this is crazy. It's like dark inside, maybe something like that. That would be interesting. Maybe explore some darkness. And then after you beat him, you jump out through the waterfall, land out over here, and just go on your merry way. But the two locations, I think, also that would be absolutely fantastic. I mean, just imagine Adam's location. This area is so ominous. It's so cool, it's so scary and spooky, and yet at the end of the day, you just walk through the doors with EMPs, fight Adam, and then walk out, and that's it. No reason to even come here anymore. To me, a final boss should be a final boss, and there should be something going on there, right? Like you need to have something to do here, in my opinion, other than just walking in, fighting a boss, and leaving. There's not even patrols or any enemies in here, so to me, make this a gigantic castle, or some kind of mansion, and show us, Henry Blackbrew was the one who made Adam the Firstborn, will show us all of his other failures, all strewn throughout this location, and have us fight up the tower, this castle, and then get to the top and fight Adam in all his terrifying glory. And then once we beat him, we feel like we did almost like a raid just to get that shard. Would be so cool. And then of course, guys, come on. Dracula is so, to me, it's super anticlimactic to just teleport right here, right over here on your horse, teleport through this, walk up, go to the Shadow Realm, kill him, and then you're done. That's just the end of it. To me, this whole area, like I mentioned, should be like a bright haven of Mortium, but then inside here, this should be truly terrifying. Make this where all the most loyal worshippers and followers of Dracula, who are all level 90 or whatever, this true endgame terrors, are here defending the Shadow Realm, trying to prepare the way for Dracula to come back to this world. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. So another thing I want to see, maybe the last thing in terms of map changes that I would absolutely love to see, would be more viable PvP base plots. And what I mean by that is some of these base plots here are very easily changed to be viable. And I know what my PvE players are thinking. Don't you dare touch my PvE base plots. I don't want you to change them because I love how they look and I love my specific plots. Don't you dare change these for my PvP players. But I'm telling you, I'm not advocating for every single base plot to be changed. I actually think it's a good thing to have some base plots that are not all that good. It makes it interesting, to try to get a base plot that's really good. But the problem is the amount of bases that are good versus the ones that are just absolutely, essentially unusable is, in my opinion, simply too high. And I also think there are a lot of plots right now that could have a single change and go from unusable to viable, and it would basically almost not affect PvE players almost at all. So here's a perfect example. A base plot like this, I would not advocate to have this changed because it's going to take too much. You have to close off 2 of these entrances. To me, that's kind of the charm of this location. It just has these 3 entrances. That's just how it is. But a base plot like this, why is this opening even here? Like, who uses this entrance? You just have this one, right? Or even just the other way around. Like, we wouldn't use these two entrances. Now, I know if you've built here, you're probably thinking, well, I use both of those entrances. I'm telling you, just running, look, let's say you're running this way here. I mean, run 2 feet down the road and you just go in this way, right? This has basically no effect on you. Another perfect example is right here. Why is there one here and here? This makes no sense. Close this base location off, and this plot goes from pretty just meh overall for PvP to, wait, actually, all of a sudden it's really, really good. The same, obviously, again, we'll go down to a place like this. I would not advocate for a place like this to be changed. There's just 4 entrances. It would take too much to make this location viable. Leave it as it is. Same thing with this plot right here. There's 3 entrances here. I just don't even mess with it. Leave it as it is. That's perfectly fine. Leave it for PvE. That's totally fine. But a base plot like something up here, we have this entrance right here just doesn't make any sense. It's cool that it's near water, but like move this little lake, make this side over here bigger, and close this spot up, and suddenly you have a way to ride up in here, and this base location goes from trash to actually really, really good. And again, like I said, it has basically no effect, no real effect on PvE players. This one here, leave it as it is, okay? We're not going to close these off. That's how this location is meant to be. Leave it as it is. This location here, close off one of these entrances. It makes no sense that there's 2 entrances right here, right next to each other. To me, it's like you're never going to use this one, in my opinion. Like, where does this even go? You're just going to ride out right here and go. I mean, they're right next to each other. Like, you're not going to come back and go to this. Like, you're just going to ride here and then ride in right there. You're not going to like weave through the rocks just to go up this way, right? And then over here, you look like this way, you jump down right here. Okay, yeah, maybe you would go here, but like, is there really a big difference from riding like this to here and riding like this around 2 seconds and going right here? No. Same thing right here. Close this this entrance right here off entirely. And again, these 2 locations would go from meh to very, very good. Like, actually very good plots. Another one up here would be like this location here. Close this entrance right here. Just doesn't make any sense. A plot like this, I personally would love to see one of these closed off, but I would understand if you want to leave this open. They don't all have to be PvP viable, but just make some of the ones currently that are just like so close to being viable, but they just have that one flaw. Like over here, here's a perfect example. These 2 locations could be super cool, but who is using this entrance or exit? This makes literally no sense. There's no point to ever riding out here. Even leaving the castle makes no point here. Like, there's no reason to ever do that. So to me, close this off, and suddenly this plot goes from completely unusable to, hey, actually, this is a really good plot. And same thing right here, close this off, and it goes from trash to suddenly very good. So that's what I'm talking about. I would love to see that kind of change. And like I said, I really don't want to see every single plot change this way, but there's so many plots like this one. Another one that I think would be really cool would be this one right here. So this one has 2 entrances. I think it would be cool to have this one closed, because this one is actually a higher plateau. This plateau is a higher tier than this lower one. I think it'd be cool to have this closed off here, so you go up to the 2nd layer and then go down to the 1st layer. I actually don't think there's any base plots like that on the entire map, as far as I know. I think it'd be cool to have at least one like that to see how it feels to have like a weird go up 2 tiers and then go down 1 tier. So anyway, so that is going to be it for now on this video. If you have any, what changes would you like to see to the map? If you have anything like that, feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, if you like this type of content, feel free to like the video and subscribe, because that is what we're doing. And until next time, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.